I am Jumabekova Nasiba Kimjanovna. It's my practical lesson of English grammar for the first class students. The theme of my lesson is complex sentence. Upon completion of this lesson, students will be able to define the term complex sentence, list the characteristics of complex sentences, identify the elements of complex sentences, and blend independent and dependent clause to craft complex sentences. It's my objective of my lesson. Now, let's begin our lesson with tongue twister to motivate to the lesson. Now, at first I'll read. Listen to me attentively. Swan swam over the sea. Swim, swan, swim. Swan swam back again. Well, swan, swan. Now, let's read together. Swan swam over the sea. Swim, swan, swim. Swan swam back again. Well, swan, swan. Now, let's read together more quicker, please. Swan swam over the sea. Swim, swan, swim. Swan swam back again. Well, swan, swan. Now, repeat at home, learn by heart, and be active, please. Now, today's our lesson is complex sentence. What is a complex sentence? A complex sentence is a sentence that is composed of one or more dependent clause and a single dependent clause. A dependent clause is also known as a subordinate clause. You may say a dependent clause and a subordinate clause. An independent clause is a complete sentence on its own, unlike a dependent clause that depends on other clauses to express a complete idea. A sentence is said to be complex if it contains the two clauses, independent and dependent. A complex sentence only differs from a compound sentence in that it has a single independent clause, while a compound sentence, it has two independent clauses. Now, pay attention please to the structure. Example please. When the cake is brown, take it out the oven. The first part of the sentence is dependent clause because here we use subordinate conjunction when the cake is brown. Then the second, take it out the oven, is independent clause. It's the clause could stand alone as a sentence, and these two parts of the sentence sometimes separates a comma. A complex sentence has an independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Now, subordinating conjunctions in complex sentence. What? At the beginning of the sentence here, when the cake is brown, take it out the oven. When it's subordinating conjunction in dependent clause. And take it out the oven, it's, as you know, independent clause. And the second sentence, you will definitely lose if you don't try. You will definitely lose its independent clause. And with a subordinating conjunction, the dependent clause, if you don't try. Complex sentence is a sentence that contains at least one independent clause and at least one dependent or subordinate clause. An independent clause is the group of words containing a subject and a predicate that expresses a complete thought. It can stand alone as a sentence or by itself. And dependent or subordinate clause is a group of words containing a subject and a predicate, but does not express a complete thought and could not stand alone as a sentence. It depends upon an independent clause. Now, dependent clause commonly begin with the words like after, although, as, before, because, but, how, if, since, that, though, until, what, when, where, which, while, who, whom, whose, or why. Now, how to make a complex sentence? Of course, we use relative pronouns. What are they? Who, whom, whose, which, when, where. Now, example. He won't have much time to prepare for the meeting, which is in the afternoon. Which is in the afternoon, it's an dependent clause with the relative pronoun which. Ahmed, who started studying a language at an early age, seems to be more fluent. Who started studying a language at an early age, it's a dependent clause or subordinate clause with the relative pronoun who. People who have smoking parents are more likely to smoke. Who have smoking parents, it's a subordinate clause with the relative pronoun who. Now, here, these words can help to make a complex sentence. Pay attention, please. We divided the groups of subordinating conjunctions. The first group answer the question why, because, as, so that, since. And the second group answer the question what time, while, when, as, before, after, since, until, as soon as, whenever. And the next, how, as if, as though. And the next, answer the question where, wherever. And the last group of conjunctions answer the question on what condition. They are if, as long as, in order to, in case, although, unless, even though. Now, using these subordinating conjunctions, connect the sentences into one complex sentence. Now, the first sentence. Now, let's try together. Henry needs to learn English. I'll teach him. Now, let's connect with the subordinate conjunction before. Henry needs to learn English before I'll teach him. Now, in this way, do this task and send me. Now, let's compare complex sentence with compound sentence. As you know, the structure of the complex sentence, that is a combo of a dependent and independent clause. And the compound sentence structure made up of two independent clauses and it joined by a coordinating conjunction. And the complex sentence joined with subordinating, not joined but differ from the independent sentence with the subordinating conjunction. Now, example, if you walk to the top of the tower, you will find a sacred goat. Here, if you walk to the top of the tower, it's a dependent clause or subordinating clause with a subordinating conjunction if. And the second example, don't open the door or a deadly smell will kill you. Here, two independent clause joined by a coordinating conjunction or. Now, your home task, read and do your best on the presentations with PowerPoint under the theme complex sentence, and you can do this sentence structure test. Here is. Now, thank you for your attention. Our lesson is over. Now, don't go anywhere. Stay at home. Bye-bye.